Let's hit it. And welcome to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. I'm your host, Lori La Bey, and I'm so excited that you're joining us today. We are going to have a fascinating conversation as usual as we learn from people all around the world at all ages and stages of life. Stay tuned as we shift our dementia care from crisis to comfort. All right, here we go. What you think about, you will bring about. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. If you enjoyed our opening music, it's called Clarion Call by the Mark Arneson Band, and you can download that on any of your favorite music platforms. For those that are new, Alzheimer Speaks is about sound news, not just sound bite. Our goal is really to raise all voices, big and small, around the world, from those diagnosed to those who care and serve, to advocates and researchers and more. Now, today is a live show, and so you can call in at 323-870-4602. That's 323-870-4602. And as always, I have to thank our listeners because of your likes, clicks, and shares. People know about Alzheimer Speaks all around the world, and it's really helping build a sense of community, collaboration, and comfort. And I truly believe that's the only way we're going to win this battle against dementia. Now, I do want to just remind people that all of our shows are archived. We've been doing this for, over 10 years now. And so there's plenty to listen to out there. So you can always come to our page here and listen to your heart's content. Today we are going to be talking with Gary Joseph LeBlanc and Vince Zangaro. And hopefully Kate Lau is going to be my co-host. We're having a little difficulty getting a hold of her right now. But, it's a full moon out there tonight, so you just never know what's going to happen. But before I introduce our guests, I always like to give a shout-out to a few organizations. One is the Memory Cafe Directory. If you go to Memory Cafe Directory, you'll find 5 different countries listed with all the memory cafes out there. Many of them, of course, are not meeting in person, but there are over 100 of them now meeting virtually, which is really nice because you don't have to be in that area typically to join one of those. I do 3 of those myself, 2 with Arthur Senior Care, and we do those on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of the month at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And I also do one on the 3rd Wednesday of each month at 2 p.m. Eastern Time with Artist Way here in Minnesota as well. So if you're interested in any of those, feel free to reach out to me or just go to the Memory Cafe Directory and you'll find them listed there. I also want to thank Coro Health, that's C-O-R-O Health, because they are allowing people to download their apps, both Music First and Coro Faith, free during the pandemic. So just go to corohealth.com. That is C-O-R-O health.com. And then I want to mention that we did roll out mid-November Dementia Map, which is a global resource directory that serves those living with dementia, their care partners, as well as professionals and organizations. And you're going to find a lot of information there, and we're growing this organically. So feel free to go to dementiamap.com. If you're interested in a virtual tour, go up to the right-hand corner, and you can click on a tab there and register for one of the dates. Now let's hear about the footbar walker, and we'll be right back with our guests.
Introducing the life-changing footbar walker.
I'm Peggy from Danville, Kentucky, and I'm 91 years old. The footbar walker revolutionized my care of George. The saving that I made from having to put him in a nursing home came to about $192,000. The foot bar walker opens and closes just like a standard walker. The only thing that is different is the top bar and the foot bar. Does that ever make a difference?
Does someone you love use a walker? Do they struggle to get up from a seated position? Are you a caregiver dealing with physical pain and stress as you help your patient? The foot bar walker was designed to assist not only the patient, but also the caregiver. Patients have more control standing up, and no lifting from the caregiver is required. See how it works at thefootbarwalker.com. That's thefootbarwalker.com. Peggy, would you recommend the foot bar walker?
Do I ever? I would not be in the health that I'm in today at this age had it not been for the foot bar walker.
Well, welcome back. Let's introduce our guest today. First of all, we have Gary Joseph LeBlanc, who is with Dementia Spotlight Foundation, and he is the Director of Education. He's also the founder of Dementia Mentors, which we'll talk about today as well. And he is the author of several books on dementia. So, Gary, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Oh, great. Thank you, Lori. And thank you for having me, and Happy New Year's.
Well, Happy New Year's to you. I can't wait to roll in 2021. I've had just about enough of 2020 myself. Well, let me introduce your sidekick here. Vincent Zangaro. I always kill your name, Vince, so sorry about that. Zangaro is also with the Dementia Spotlight Foundation, and he is their community outreach director. I got to know Vince before he joined the foundation when he was caring for his father, Albert, who was diagnosed with dementia. And his dad lived for 14 years, I believe, with Alzheimer's. Vince was a full-time care partner for his dad, and then became the founder of the Alzheimer's Music Fest, which he'll also talk about. So welcome, Vince. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, Lori.
Well, good. Thanks for calling back in. It sounds like our connection is better than what it
is
was.
Way better. We're good to go.
Wonderful. Well, first of all, I'm going to start out. I always like to ask everybody just for a little background for people who might not know you. And I'm going to start this out with Vince. If you can tell us a little bit about, your journey with your dad, because I already mentioned that you've been personally touched by that. Then I'll go to Gary and ask him if he's been personally touched.
All right. Gary's my sidekick. That was supposed to be a joke. Sorry. No, my dad and I lived with Alzheimer's for 14 years. Probably, I would say, everybody says probably about a window about 5 years before diagnosis. And we lived through it all from the beginning, from actually kind of just living a little bit in ignorance with the diagnosis, even though his father had it. To realizing what it was through the years and taking the steps that it was, and kind of going through, having to leave work and be a full-time caregiver, and just really realizing what my father was going through and trying to live life on his level where he was at, kind of getting rid of all the kind of outside world to be in his world is what I like to call it. And we ended up in home hospice at the very end. On his 76th birthday, we actually celebrated in home hospice, my wife and I and him, and I got to hold his hand. And right here and right now with COVID, that's very hard, and be with him to his last breath.
Wow, that's nice. Nice. Not everybody is able to do that, like you said, especially with COVID. How about you, Gary? Have you been personally touched with family or friends?
Yes. Like Vince, I cared for my dad. We're going back 23 years ago. This all started. Like you, Lori, we've been in this for I don't know how many, for decades and decades, it seems. But I was with my dad from day one to the very end. You get to witness his disease from start to finish. It's kind of it's breathtaking, really, when you see it all. And then right after my dad passed, it was Mom's turn. I took 8 years with Mom with vascular dementia. My dad had Alzheimer's, and we have another family member now diagnosed with early onset. So we're on our third run here. A lot of experience, without a doubt. A lot of personal experience.
Yeah, experience we'd rather not have, but yep, it is
but
the
I can
journey.
tell you, we're getting good at it. I mean, third round here, we learn. If you don't learn from your mistakes, you're not learning at all. So.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that's interesting too is everybody's journey is a little bit different. So even though you know a lot, it's still, I would imagine it's still different. I that's what I've found anyways, because everybody's personality and care partner situation. I mean, it's all different, and yet there's so many commonalities within the journey. And I think you've done such a nice job, both you and Vince, in terms of taking your experiences and sharing it with others. Gary, I want to talk to you about the education department in Dementia Spotlight Foundation, and what have you been able to do, if anything, during COVID? Because I know a lot of organizations have just kind of shut down, and even a lot of the dementia-friendly groups. Especially initially, had just stepped back and said, well, we're going to wait till this is over. Where have you guys fallen with all of this?
That was not the case with us. We just went into high gear virtually right from the beginning. I mean, I do all the sheriff's training here in Florida. I do all the police departments and stuff, health department. That's all shut down, I mean, as far as that goes on it. But a lot of the hospital training I've been doing over the years has always been virtual. On most cases on it. So I was already set up ready to go virtually on it. So we just started from day one. We just started doing live webinars. We did one a week for the first 8 weeks of the shutdown, and we really haven't stopped from there. We've been going right through on it, and we've done some really good stuff. I mean, I'm pretty proud of what we've accomplished, I mean, during the COVID.
Gary,
I mean,
well, what Gary's saying, too, is even with the Music Fest, we started streaming live music, and we all came together, and because of Gary's help, he was doing Dementia Mentors for a long time, and we'll get into that. But, yeah, we just literally went full blast. We just started streaming bands, live music. We were just trying to figure out how we could still keep connected with the dementia community.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is wonderful, and I can't wait to talk about Dementia Mentors and all that you're doing. I think both of you guys, like myself, I mean, we've been so entrenched with online stuff. If it's the different forms of communication that you just keep plugging away in terms of doing things, and I think it's so needed. I would imagine you're getting a lot of kudos from the people that are participating in this. I know I sure do. And how much it's appreciated by the person with dementia as well as the families with that. Are you hearing a lot of positives, Gary?
No. After every webinar we do, we just get blasted with emails thanking us for everything on it. I will say on the good news front on this, I did get a schedule from the Florida Sheriff's Department for in-person training starting in February throughout the year. Now whether this falls through. Florida's a lot different than most states. I mean, we're wide open here on it. But we do have a full schedule set up starting next month and starting February 1st.
Wow.
So, hopefully next year will be a lot different than this year. I miss so bad teaching in person. It's just, online is great, but it's just not the same. It just isn't.
Yep.
But it's a great substitute. I mean.
Yep. I agree. Now, I want to talk about, you guys are doing some respite care programs. And so, Vince, do you want to start us off in talking about respite care and how does that work and where is it available and is there a cost to it, all those fun things?
Well, the great thing about Dementia Spotlight Foundation's respite care, we're now in Georgia and Florida and pretty much broad in counties. We're trying to expand that, and of course, because of COVID, we couldn't do our 2 Alzheimer's Music Fest this year. Mm-hmm. But we've been fortunate enough to continue to do what we're doing, so we're still offering it. And if you go to the DementiaSpotlightFoundation.org, you can fill out a Florida respite care app or application, and also at Georgia. And our respite care, basically, my friend Gary Kitchen, if you don't mind me talking about this a little bit.
Sure, it's fine.
I started this with probably about 10 years ago or 9 years ago when I was caring for my dad. He was my feet on the ground and he just passed away. Anyway, just an amazing dude. And so what we ended up doing was kind of a similar thing where we started, and then Gary came in, then Whitney, and all of us, and we actually, I wouldn't say improved it, but made it broader where we pay direct to those home care companies, the family that fills out an application. Dude, we'll get back with you in literally under 24 hours, but I'm not kidding. Normally it's like within 30 minutes with us because we understand the need for that home care and that break for families so they don't have caregiver burnout or care partner burnout. And even for the one living with dementia, seeing the same face every day. And with people living with dementia, when you bring in someone that's actually really good at their job, it's not always perfection when you bring in these companies and these CNAs, but it works out pretty well. It uplifts their mood. So we basically right now we're doing case by case because of COVID, how much money we're giving, but it's up to $500. Right now we're staying in between about $350, and they fill out an app, and we call them, and boom, you got respite care, and within the next week or so.
Wow, that's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. I talk to people all over the world, and one of the things that, families are saying so much is we need respite. We're dying out here. All the adult days pretty much have shut down, and people are just feeling overly stressed and just trapped in their house. But now they're trapped in their house, without support. And it really, really makes it tough. So that is absolutely wonderful. So basically it's in Florida and Georgia are the main areas for the rest of the
year. Yeah, and we're looking at expanding, hopefully 2021. We would like to see that, but, we can't tell the future. But, of course, Whitney, me, and Gary really have big caregiver complexes where we don't know how to take a day off because it's not a job. It's not a job for us. It's just what we do. And when you get that other person on that phone, they whether they know you from social media, they don't know you, or they just when they get someone that actually understands what they're going through. And normally with I would say with a dementia family, it takes years to ask for help. It's just dementia families are stubborn. We want to do it ourselves, and we don't trust people. And, of course, when you get new in this kind of disease and what it is, you don't know there's any help out there. Of course, over the last decade, there's more now. But, Gary, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, what I really was shocked by when I started giving out respite care through the foundation on this. Like I said, the families never even have to take their wallet out of their pocket. This is all paid for. But to give free help to these people, and they're like, oh, I can't do that. I've been with my wife since we were 14 years old. I can't have somebody else come to the house. I go, yes, you can. And I explained to the people, I go, this is actually a learning process for everybody. And eventually you're going to have to bring home care, and this will give you a chance to get a little put your feet in the water, try it out, And then once they take the first respite day, then it all opens up for everybody, and they see how good this is on it. But sometimes we have to sit there and say, don't make me get on my hands and knees and beg you to give you free help. We just had a woman that we just went to. I was offering a 4-hour shift, a small break. She goes, I only want 2 hours. I'm like, we're trying to find a home care agency that will only do 2 hours. It's almost impossible on it. But we worked with a company. We gave her the 2 hours. And now she's on her way to go. Now she'll do the 4 hours. But it was very hard for her to have somebody come help. Pride, it's our loved one. This is my job. As caregivers, we all go through this on it. So but it is a learning experience. That's how I try to explain to everybody. I go, let's just try this out. This is going to be an experience. You're going to have to get to this point anyway.
And I think Gary's exactly right on this. When you get into it, and kind of what I said before, dementia family, dude, we're stubborn people, and I love it, and that's a good characteristic. But what Gary said is it is very nervous to bring someone into your home. You don't trust people. You get to this isolation because normally it's about 3-4 years before you ask for help in some cases. And, and what's really been good is, Gary and I and Whit and everybody, we have a naughty and nice list. We know the home care. We can kind of direct you to the right home care agency that we feel comfortable with. It's never perfect, but in a lot of cases, once they see that, it opens up their world.
Well, and I love that you said never perfect because you know what? Life isn't perfect. It wasn't before dementia knocked on your door, and so you can't expect it to be now. But, you know, it really is about building a trust, giving yourself a break, breaking some of those stigmas that so many of us feel that we have to do it all ourselves, you know, that it's expected of us. And, you know, we just all do much better collaborating and, you know, working as a team because we all have different expertise. And so once we let somebody in, and it's uncomfortable, I mean, I hear it over and over again, I don't want anybody in my house. I don't trust anybody in my house. I just, you know, I don't trust anybody with my loved one. They don't know them the way I know them. Well, they're never going to if you don't tell them about them. You know, they're going to also have a lot of tricks up their sleeve that might help you in terms of how to care when you're with them because you're still the primary, you know, care partner there. So it really is a two-way street. I want to call in Kate. Kate Lau is going to be my co-host today. And welcome, Kate. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How about you?
Doing good, doing good. So glad you could join
everybody.
us today. Kate, do you want to give people a little background on yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Kate Lau. I live in Illinois, Champaign, Illinois. Well, I've got a little bit of a cold here, so if you hear a lot of sniffling, that will be me. You guys are talking about home care. I see. I've been waiting to hear from one of the agencies, but first I have to get an RN in here to see, to check my house out, see if I need all the, you know, what do you call those things in the bathroom? Help me, people.
Oh, just the grab bars and things?
Yes. Because I moved to a condo, and it's one story. I cannot do any more stairs, so I decide that it's time to downsize. And sometimes as family members who do not believe in that and do not want to move, so I say, well, they don't know how it feels like when the spine is out and if I have spine injury, plus a huge 4-story house is not meant for somebody with dementia. And I cannot clean anymore. I cannot do anything. So if people can't move, I've got to take care of me. So I called the agency and said that, well, you know, when I first was diagnosed, they misdiagnosed me and said that I had Alzheimer's, and I was given medication that's not for me. So I got very ill, and for a year or so they gave me a CNA. Then they changed it when I got better and gave me a home help. Things are good, but you know, like I heard the last part of your conversation, they're not always perfect. And I had one lady. She came and she wanted to help out. So there's really nothing much to do. So I asked her if she would just like wipe down the banister because it's spiraling down with dust also spiraling down. And I didn't know she took pledge, and she polished the banister and all the stairs.
Oh, geez.
All the stairs?
All the stairs. So my son came home, and he always like ran up the stairs, run down, and he fell all the way down.
Oh,
he
no.
said, my goodness. Yeah. Who did this? So I told him. She said, Mom, must you have her? I said, yes, I must. Because if you keep on changing, your reputation gets pretty bad, you know, and nobody will come out. Mm-hmm. So I said, for now, I'm going to have her, and I'm not calling the company, which sometimes patients are very fond of doing, so that they can have another one they think would be better. It could also be worse. So the best thing is to just let her know, you know, my son fell down, and in future, please don't use this, you know, and say it in a nice way. She wouldn't mind. Yeah. But then later on, I got really, really lucky, and I got one that was really good. for a very long time, and then discontinued. I was fine, but now I'm not fine. So I'm waiting to hear from the RN who's coming here to look at the house. And I haven't heard from them because of Christmas, and it's very, very frustrating. But I have to understand that with COVID, everybody's going like busy.
Well, and it's hard
and
to
also,
too.
And also short staff,
Yeah. I have a question for Vince and Gary again, and so maybe Vince, you can handle this. Is she was talking about you having to qualify and things with your respite. Do they have to qualify, given that this is kind of a gift? I mean, I'm sure there's got to be an assessment done in terms of what the needs are, but it's not a qualification for receiving payment, is it?
We do not do a background check. We do not do a background check. We sit there and we talk with them, and you can feel automatically over the phone what they're going through, whether it's financial difficulties, which many families have through the caregiving journey. I'd say 80% of families have, and that's not me being an expert, but I would say pretty much 80% of families I talk to just can't afford respite or home care.
Yeah.
And so once you get on the phone and you talk to these people, we're not going to put people through that. Gary and I and Whit, we've been through it. We know it. And so, they fill out the application, we talk to them, and then we go forward. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add, Gary?
Yeah, the one qualification is that they got to have a diagnosis of some type of dementia-related disease. I mean, that's the first where we start on it. I mean, to find out exactly what it is, and then that's where we are. Like Vincent says, we're talking to them. We're asking them all the questions like, what is the best thing we can do when we send somebody out to the house to handle this person? What does your loved one like to do? Do they like to play cards? So the first visit they get, all that the home care agency has all this information.
Okay.
Do they have pets? Do they like animals? I mean, what is their illness? So we try to get as much background as far as that's concerned to get the home care agency as ready as possible when they walk in the door to take care of this person, to make that first visit go as smooth as possible. So I think that's all very important to put together as a package as I send all this information to whoever we're dealing with at the time as home care. Now, it might not all be home care. Some of this could be an adult daycare center, or it could be, assisted living over for 48 hours or 24 hours, overnight visit.
Or hospice. Even hospice. If you need some extra help through hospice, we'll be there.
Okay.
It varies on what the situation is on each person, so it's...
Okay, and then as far as payment goes, do you pay the company directly versus the money going to the family to pay?
No. We pay directly.
We pay directly.
Okay, that's what I thought, and I just wanted to be clear on that. Great.
And there's a big... Sorry, Lori, there's a big thing, too. A lot of people call this vouchers, and that bothers me. I think some government programs, I guess, through the years have been called vouchers, and where they you pay $10 for a book and you get $500 worth of, and you only can go to one home care company. You can only go to one pharmacy, whatever, through those things. That's not what we do. I mean, if you have a home care company that you really like, then I'll go Gary and I will go talk to them.
Okay.
See if it's the right fit. These are not vouchers. This is direct. We try to, Gary and I have we really try to take kind of the admin work or the research work off of you so we can be that care partner's advocate and that person living with dementia's advocate. We do that work for you.
Wonderful. Gary, I want to switch gears here and talk about the Dementia Hospital wristband program and how the hospitals are using it and how has it helped them serve those with dementia.
Yeah, I think we're in our 19th hospital. I had started 2 this year, one in New Jersey and one in Carolina. They're both coming on. Both of them are, one was a 5-hospital system, the other one was a 9-hospital system. And, of course, we're starting this in early spring, and then everything got shut down. So we got two big programs running right now, but this is on hold until probably next year because the hospitals are just buried on it. But as far as the program goes, if anybody goes in the hospital and they have some symptom of dementia or either a traumatic brain injury or any cognitive issues, the wristband is basically a sticker that we put on the band, and this is just stating that this patient is at risk for cognitive issues, for cognitive impairment. It's not a diagnosis and everything, and that's how we get through the HIPAA laws and all that on it. Every hospital that we've had has been very successful in it. Families love it. One of the biggest concerns with the families, they get more report from the families in favor of it than they ever thought on it. And so we talked to the hospitals about a lot of things, and a lot of it is readmissions. We're really cut down the readmissions values for the people because all these hospitals are getting fined for early readmissions. Well, the people with dementia are on the top of that list. They're the first ones to end back in the hospital because they're handing kids your rehab papers. Go see your doctor. They're not giving you really enough information, and the caregiver's a mess, and they end up back in the hospital within 10 days in most cases on it. So we've really cut this down by making sure we discharge these people properly. It's not just the admission, it's the discharge. So the program has grown and grown and grown on what we look to accomplish on it, including mini-cog tests at admission time, mini-cog tests when they leave, so we know the difference between the time they get in and the time they walk out. Because most times they're walking out of there worse than they came in. A 7-day hospital stay with somebody with dementia could literally take away a year of their cognitive issues. So it's got to be handled right. And then the acute care in the hospital, we understand everything's fast going, but this just doesn't work for the people with dementia. So we're putting in paid companions, the hospital putting paid companions with the people with dementia so they have a sitter. If the family can't be there, there's going to be a companion there with them, helping reading to them, helping them eat, whatever they need to do. I mean, it's a scary situation. Hospitals are scary as it is. You put dementia in the mix, and it's a problem. So we're happy to still working on it. Like I said, it's been a tough year on this year for that. As soon as this is opening up, we get to these two chains that we're talking about, Opensack, New Jersey, and that's Meridian Health, and we get another one in Charlotte. First Presbyterian is the other one on it. They're large hospital systems on it. They're ready to go, but they got to get through this COVID first.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We were just getting the training started in both these hospitals when this all broke off and got hit with the COVID. So. And I feel for these people. Talk about the frontline workers. These staff in the hospital, man. They're right there and near it every day, man. That's a tough situation. Yep, that's for sure. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Dementia Spotlight Foundation's online support group. And Gary, I'm going to let you go ahead and start with that, and then we'll pull Vince in as well.
Well, I'm very proud of Vince. He's been handling this program. He's done a great job on it. But like I said, this is when we started this right when the COVID took off. The COVID took off too. We've always had it in mind how we wanted to get this thing running. But as soon as the COVID hit, is exactly when we started it. It's like, okay, this is the time. Let's get the people together online. I mean, immediately was one of the first things we did. Right at the same time as online education came on board on it. He's got 2 a week. He's got a great group. I mean, everybody's really happy. I would really let Vince handle this one because he's the one running that program on it. But he's done a great job.
Okay, Vince.
Well, it's pretty amazing. Very much inspired by, and again, Dementia Mentors. And you guys are going to talk about that later, I understand, Lori, but I was very much inspired by Gary on this, and Whitney was, and we're sitting there, and, a lot of people don't give enough people credit, even living with dementia or care partners, that they can do Zoom. They don't give enough people credit. And to be honest with you, when we first started this, I was really excited about it, and we didn't really promote it that much. We kind of did grassroots. Let's get in there, and now we basically have 10 members 2 times a week, and it keeps growing, and we're going to have to add another support group here. And what really is interesting, I'm just kind of a moderator. So I go in there, and to be honest with you, it's a support group for me. My dad died two years ago, and it doesn't leave you. Once you're a care partner or caregiver, you're always a caregiver. It doesn't leave you. You grieve continuously. And but you can do it in a productive way. And what happens is these people become family. They exchange numbers. They talk to each other outside the support group. It's very beautiful. And I really have seen some amazing things out of it. And what's kind of cool with the Zoom, and I think this will go back where you go to a support group, if you do it weekdays, I remember when I was caring for Dad, and there was a few support groups at that time. And they're like, well, you have to come at 5 p.m. on a Thursday. Well, how the heck can I come to a support group at 5 p.m. on a Thursday when I'm caring for my father?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can do the Zoom and do it right there. And I think it actually gives the benefit to a lot of people.
Yep. I'm going to pull Kate in because Kate's participated in various support groups on Zoom. And since you're living with dementia, Kate, what have the Zoom support groups meant to you?
When I first was diagnosed, I didn't know where to turn to. I actually was lost. I was there alone, and I came out. I kind of missed, you're not going to believe this, but it's true. I missed like, oh, wow, I'm not coming to see Dr. Schuhart anymore. You know, it's like, what do I do now? You know, where do I go? Who do I call? There's a place that I call, but they don't know a thing. They're a very big organization, but they asked me if I want to participate in a walk. No, I need to know more about my Alzheimer's or my frontal lobe dementia, but I could not get anything. So I went online and I found one group, and it just didn't feel right. So that's when I went to Dementia Mentors, and I got a lot out of it. I couldn't wait for Dementia Mentors. That's my only social life, and that's the only place where I could ask questions. I get answers, and I've got so many questions. As you can tell, I talk a lot, so I've got a lot of questions, and I've got a lot of good answers. So, you know, actually I learned a lot from Dementia Mentors, and then I joined Forget Me Not and Purple Angel, and prior to that, I was kind of working in skilled nursing at the dementia village, and so I've got a little bit of, you know, experience from there. But now I look at myself some days. I say, okay, I got to get up and get going, because I am beginning to feel like what my patients did, just curl up on the couch. That's a good one, because it will get me going. I don't lie down on the couch. No matter how bad it is, I'll get up. So I'll go to support group, or I'll be grumpy, but I'll get up. You know, it's I learned so much from support groups. Yes, I don't know what I would do without them. Like I said, you can't get well. There's no medication. They can treat your symptoms. And what else do? You have no more friends. Slowly, your friends go away. And about 3-4 years ago, I was ready to go to assisted living, but I was one of the 5 people that started the assisted living, and I feel like I couldn't go there. There's so many memories of me working there, and now I'm a patient, so I decided to have home care. Yeah, I learned a lot. I take away a lot from support groups online.
Great.
Well, and I think what you're saying, too, is kind of interesting. What I've learned from even talking to you just over the radio or the podcast is you learn so much. You know, people living with dementia learn so much from each other. People that are care partners and caregivers learn so much from each other. It's something that you can't get from going to a not saying you shouldn't go to a doctor, you shouldn't look at everything. I mean, of course, that's great, but you learn so much from each other.
Yeah, these groups have been so valuable for so many. Go ahead, Kate. You were going to say something else.
Working around people with dementia, you know, you learn a lot, and then when you're at the other side of the table and you have dementia, and then you said, oh boy, I know what I have now, you know. I know that it is true that I have FTD, and I noticed my own behavior, and now I know that I am a lot like a couple of my patients, and now I can identify who has Alzheimer's, and no, I'm not like those. You know, I mean, you begin to recognize symptoms But, of course, I'm not going to go out there and be their doctor and go to the dementia unit and say, oh, you know what? I know she's got dementia. No, because we're all different. But I recognize a lot of my symptoms. Now I know it's FTD, but when I was diagnosed for Alzheimer's, I did not feel I had Alzheimer's at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know it because you've been working around them.
Well, and it's interesting too, because I think one of the things that people forget is that no one's ever going to know it all, and no matter how little you think you know more than somebody else, and so you can always help somebody by sharing your story and sharing what you've learned, and then it's up to them. Are they going to take it in or not? But more often than not, people are really thankful that you shared your story and your experience, because even if it doesn't apply to them, it gives them knowledge in an everyday, reality focused, kind of based. It's not book smart. It's this stuff really has happened to real people.
Hands on.
And that makes a big difference in terms of how people apply and adapt to a lot of those changes.
Mm-hmm.
You had mentioned Forget Me Not is, for those of you that don't know, is a Facebook group that has a lot of subgroups for Lewy body and vascular and all different kinds of things. And there's many groups like that on Facebook. And I just personally want to thank you, too, for being part of Dementia Chats, which is also a group where I just facilitate the conversation and we record it on different topics that people with dementia talk about. And we get all different kinds of insights. And I think that's one of the brilliant things, too, is that in these groups, everybody's pretty welcome, to be their authentic self. And expectations aren't high, and they're not limited, and people are able to feel their feelings and be able to move through them and support one another and create these friendships and bonds that are so important to everyone. Gary, I want to talk to you since we've mentioned Dementia Mentors. I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about what Dementia Mentors is, how it got started, and how are you guys adapting through COVID?
Well, my wife, Kate, is one of our lovely members. Love you, Kate. She's here. It's good to hear her voice. Next month will be 7 years when I started working and building Dementia Mentors, and it's gone from 2 cafes a week to 46 a month now. We've built and built. We get members all over, globally, internationally. It's very common that we'll have doing a cafe and we get people from 4 different countries on. So it's absolutely amazing. But what these people have, like you mentioned, is they have just truly become family. And for me, they've become my university. I mean, I have learned so much from these folks. Mm-hmm. If you just let these people talk and actually sit down and listen, what you will learn from these folks that are living with dementia is there's not a university on this planet that can teach you what these folks can teach you. But you just got to be able to acknowledge that they got something to say, and it's just absolutely amazing. But these groups have just become, we got some members that come on every single meeting. They're waiting for the next one. They'll come on 2-3 a day. We'll have on Mondays, we have 3 cafes on Mondays. Today we did 2 cafes today already. It's absolutely, I can't even speak highly enough of how good this group has gone and become on it. But they're friends. If somebody doesn't show up, we haven't seen somebody in 3 weeks, and it's like, hey, where's Scott? And next thing you know, we're messaging him and we're finding out if he's okay. It's just become family, and it's we just had a brand new member come on today. During the COVID, it actually expanded a little bit, of course. I mean, people couldn't go anywhere. People in lockdown. Everybody in the UK is in a strict lockdown. They're on cafes all week long and stuff on it. During the holidays right now, we've seen an increase. Members that we haven't seen or haven't maybe been on a couple of months are coming in for the holidays. Just like everything else, it's family. Everybody wants to get together on it. We had a cafe on Christmas Day. We had 8 people on. I mean, it's a lot of these people with dementia are living alone. And this truly is their window to their world, man. They're looking at that computer screen. We're doing Zoom conferences, and that computer screen is their window. I mean, they got their friends all over the globe here, and we're talking on it. And like I said, we haven't seen Kate for a while, but hey, Kate, how you doing, man? It's just amazing, man, on it.
phone call.
That they have learned. Everybody's patting each other on the back. I mean, it's just about confidence building for everybody.
May I interject here, Lori?
Oh, go
Before
ahead.
I lose my thought. Yes. We learn at Dementia Mentors, because it's such a big group. I learned words. I learned symptoms. I listened to so many things that I didn't know about. So I learned how to advocate. I learned how to advocate for myself when I saw the doctors. And I said, but isn't this such and such and such? And you find that you know more than they do a lot of times. And how do you learn this? From the people who has dementia, where? From the support groups. I learned the most from there. I can read, then I get really, really depressed just looking at all those words, you know. But when you're talking, you don't feel it. You don't feel it. You feel encouraged. You feel inspired. So you learn to advocate. Okay.
I will say this: there's some cafes where we all laugh together, and there's other cafes where we all cry together, man. But it's all either way, it's all good.
Yeah. Well, and it is important, and it isn't. Dementia isn't something that is scheduled, and so I love that you've got. What did you say? 46. Meetings that you're doing a month. That's incredible. And, you're a small organization compared to some in terms of the amount that you are giving directly back to people and building community. That is absolutely huge. I participated in something on Christmas Day, and there were, a couple of people on that, were very honest, very, very honest. And, it was open to the public, but they were just really, really depressed, really, really down. And to be able to have connections and try to lift one another up and support each other even outside that meeting is extremely important for people to have. So kudos to you. Vince, I want to get you back in because I want to talk about the Music Fest, Alzheimer's Music Fest.
Real quick, Lori, I'm sorry. Can I add on to that real quick, the COVID stuff?
Sure.
What's very interesting with the support groups, and Gary, I think you've gotten this too, is kind of when people went in lockdown, at the very beginning of this. Mm-hmm. But most dementia families were like, I mean, it's terrible. They're like, well, for the first 2 months, they were kind of used to it. They were like so isolated already. And I think people don't understand that. You look at this virus, no matter what you think about it, and you think that, this is an inconvenience and this is this. But these families that live with this disease for years and years and years, they've been living this already.
Yep. Yeah, that was kind of one of the jokes on Dementia Chats where they said, this is our world. This is how we've been living. We can actually help people adapt to doing Zoom because we get how important this is and how well it works. And so,
I think, it's, of course, now it's very much expensive time, and that can really hurt people, being in isolation for that. Like even going to a corner store, doing whatever you do with your loved one or going to a restaurant. But these people already felt this way in many ways. And I don't think people get the isolation. And what she talked about earlier was losing friends, losing loved ones. This happens. This is literally a consistent thing for families. They've been through it. They're living it. That's all I got to say on it. Sorry. Pretty passionate about it.
No, good points. But I do want to take some time because we only have about 10 minutes left. I want you to talk about the Alzheimer's Music Fest, how that came about, and how COVID has impacted your ability to fundraise, via that.
Well, like I said, we started doing some streams on. It's not the fest, and we're not, of course, we are a smaller nonprofit, but we actually get to the people, which I really like. It's not call 1-800 number. It's not, hey, you feel that you get us, and we're on it, and I love that. And I think, in my dad's memory and everybody that I've met that lives with dementia, that are caregivers, has been pretty amazing. But we got some exciting stuff coming up with Alzheimer's Music Fest. We partnered with Live Nation, which is one of the biggest music promotion companies actually in the world, but definitely in the United States. And so we have one planned for August 28th. We did that. Believe me, we changed the dates many times. And, we have some great bands on it. We haven't done the formal announcement yet, so I'm not going to say what that is. We'll do that on February, but just some amazing huge, really big bands that have been actually touched. All of them have been touched by dementia. And we'll be doing it at the Tabernacle in Atlanta, which can fit about 2,500 people. Okay, cool. It's pretty insane. So we're looking forward to working with them forward and going, hopefully expanding like we did in Florida to different states after this, and just kind of bringing out the message and, getting the care for those communities. And they need it. They need it now. Yeah. People are just saying right now, care, help. No one's listening. I mean, we are the small niche of people that are in this community, but I want to reach people that maybe had a grandparent or had a friend. I want to reach those people. And the best way to reach them is through music. Yep, exactly. Well, I'll look forward to hearing more about that. I remember going to one of yours. I think it might have been your second one or something. Yeah, it was the second one, and we didn't know what we did. It was just we threw it because I've been a mute. But yeah, and you bought me a Coke, Lord. But you guys, you were like, "Can I buy you a drink?" And I'm like, "I'll take a Coke." But you did a great job. I mean, it was a lot of fun. People were very engaged. You had your silent auction, and I'll still never forget the artist that painted. I mean, she was just incredible. Oh, Heather. Yeah, and then our dear friend Pam that passed away. Yeah. So it's neat to see how it's grown over the years. I want to pull Gary back in here quick and just see if he has anything that you want to add here. We've only got a few minutes left. So, hey, Gary, real quick, Gary is the dude in Florida that's really expanded the music fest out there. That's all I got to say, Gary. Sorry, I'll shut up. Sorry.
Yeah, we did a music fest in Tampa in 2019. Our 2021, which was scheduled for March 14th, we literally shut it down the night before the event because of the COVID. That's when everything broke loose on the COVID on it, and that was just heartbreaking. I mean, we had put so much work into it. We rescheduled for November. We had to cancel that. I mean, it's been, like Vince says, we've moved several dates. So once the world gets back to normal, we'll be looking forward to doing events all over again on it. So, but they're fun. Yeah. It's a fun event. It's a great way to raise money for respite care. This is where it basically pays our respite care money on it. It's such an important event, and so please support. Yeah, we were looking at doing something here in Minnesota, too, this past summer, and my gut was just screaming, this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work. And I said, I don't know what's happening. I said, but it's not going to work. I can just tell you, it's not going to work. And then it was probably 3 weeks later when the COVID hit, and I said, oh, this is why it's not going to work, So it was kind of weird that my intuition was just taken over. But we've got one guy, in fact, who did our opening music here, Mark Arneson, was really interested in doing something through music, and he's very, very well connected and stuff. So maybe we'll be able to do something in the future when things lift here. Now, to get a hold of you guys at the Dementia Spotlight Foundation, people can just go to your website, dementiaspotlightfoundation.org. Again, that's dementiaspotlightfoundation.org. And then if you want to reach Vince or Gary, you just put Vince at or Gary at dementiaspotlightfoundation.org. And those of you interested in Dementia Mentors, you can go to dementiamentors.com. And you can also, .org, right.
And then I wonder if I made a mistake here. Is your email, Gary, dementiamentors@gmail.com, or is it through dementiamentors.org? Because I had Gmail.
The best one is dementiamentors@gmail.
Okay, .com. Okay. And then, Vince, for you, if someone's interested in the Alzheimer's Music Fest, should they just email you through the Dementia Spotlight Foundation, or do you have another email you'd like to give out?
No, the Dementia Spotlight Foundation's great.
Wonderful. Well, you guys,
and if I could,
Vince, go ahead, and then Gary.
Sorry, I'm getting a delay. But anyway, I wanted to, she can't be with us today, but Whitney Altman, that kind of brought us all together and is able to do this, man. She has inspired, us to keep going and make sure this keeps happening. And she can't be with us today, and she's trying to change the stigma on dementia-related diseases. And because people think, some of the verbiage and what's used that's been used for decades. And, she's really just worked hard with cities and counties, and it's amazing what she does. So I just wanted to say that. She's pretty amazing.
Great. Great. I'm glad you mentioned her. That's wonderful. For Whitney to keep up the great work, and she too was personally touched by dementia as well. And it's amazing how many people who have been touched that say, "Hey, we can do a better job. Let's do something else." And Kate, I want to thank you too for being with us and kind of co-hosting with me today. Appreciate you taking the time and giving us some input as well. Any last comments that you'd like to say?
Thank you for having me, and gentlemen, it's a privilege to be here and to learn more things. So, Gary, I probably will be seeing you on Thursday at one of our chats. And all the best. Thank you.
Always love to see you.
Kate, by the way, we have guest speakers on the support groups once a month. We bring someone that's living with dementia once a month to talk to care partners and caregivers, which is pretty. They get so much. So you can talk to Gary about that, and we'd love to have you.
Thank you very much.
Great. Another connection being made in terms of educating the world. So that's wonderful.
Yes.
Again, you can go to DementiaSpotlightFoundation.org for more information. And as far as Alzheimer Speaks, you can just go to AlzheimerSpeaks.com. We offer all kinds of different resources there, along with the radio show. And again, I thank you all so much for being part, and have a wonderful rest of the holiday season, and roll in that new year with a smile, and stay healthy and safe, everyone. We'll talk soon. Bye now.
Hey everybody, Jared Sebestier, host of Retire Repurposed. This podcast is dedicated to help people transition into fulfilling and purposeful retirements. Retirement is a big life change. In fact, the two most dangerous years of a person's life are the year they were born and the year they retire. Few people can just flip the switch from working a career 30 or 40 plus years, retiring on Friday, without methodical steps to living what we call a repurposed retirement. To listen now, search Retire Repurposed on your favorite podcast platform, Senior Resource, or Life Audio.